All right, guys. Let me start it off. My name's DJ Scooter, aka DJ Scooter. No, my real name is Gerald Fulton. I am 45 years old. I've been DJing for 23 years of that time. I have a degree in psychology, minor in philosophy. I did go to college. I've been DJing since my freshman year in college. Sorry, that was a long time ago. I'm working on that mentally, trying to figure out how long it was. I've been interested in DJing since I was in high school. But I just didn't have the money for turntables back then. There were no other options except for these. And at the time, they were about 600 bucks. Didn't have that kind of money, so I just collected records. I've been currently a DJ for Omnia Hakkasan in Las Vegas. Also DJ for One Oak in New York, in LA, and in Las Vegas also. I do places in Chicago. I've DJ'd at every state of the union, including Alaska and Hawaii, except for some reason I've never been to Boston. I don't know why. I've been on every continent except Africa DJing. So I'm going to tell you right now, like, you could do a lot in this business and not have to be a Calvin Harris or a Nicki Minaj or whatever you want to say, any kind of DJ. You can make a very good living and you could live very well doing this if you know what you're doing. You have a good base. You know what you're doing. So I thought about, like, because I started so late and I didn't have anybody to teach me DJing, I kind of had to learn it all on my own. I started off as straight scratching and straight hip hop. All I wanted to do was scratch and learn hip hop stuff and play my like underground hip hop records. Went from that to kind of like I guess everyone does. I just DJ'd in my bedroom for a long time. I didn't have other DJ friends. I didn't have anyone who I knew. What's up?
So going back to being a b-boy. So right. you were doing breakdancing.
I was doing breakdancing.
And at that time it was probably like that movie Breakin'. That everybody saw.
Everyone saw and everyone wanted to do it. That's what everybody was at. That was the first time I had ever seen like any kind of like breakdancing or anything like that.
Was that the spark for hip hop for you?
No, there was hip hop in my neighborhood because I played Pop Warner football when I was a little kid, all the way through I was growing up. Like I played football in college. Like that's how I got through college. So like a lot of the guys on the team would be playing hip hop stuff, or funk or stuff like that. So I would, I heard UTFO, like all these really old like hip hop bands. You guys probably don't know. It doesn't matter, but. Like all those guys I was aware of, and I liked it, and I would collect the music. I would buy the records, like the little 45s,
yeah.
And I would collect the big ones if I really liked the album.
Yeah.
This was like, before anybody, before Dr. Dre, before any of that stuff. This was way, way, way back. But I just kind of continued hip hop just because I really loved the dancing. I was a dancer before I was a DJ. I know it seems weird to look at me now at 45, all plump and weird looking, but. I really loved to dance, and I loved to dance, and I loved rhythms, and I loved just anything that sounded cool that made me want to move my body. I really enjoyed, and still to this day, that really serves me as a DJ. When I see a DJ and they're just kind of standing there, like just no energy, like I'm always like why are you up there? Like, what's the point for you? Like, what are you getting out of this? Because I don't understand. Like, when I'm up there, I'm wilding out, I'm dancing, I'm on the mic. Like to me, like the DJ's job is straight entertaining. Like you're there to, people, they work all week long, and a lot of them have crappy jobs or, they don't like what they do. And they go out on the weekend, they want to just lose themselves and have fun. And my job is to make them forget how cool they are, forget that they're trying to be, they're trying to look nice, forget all that stuff and just lose it. And just go, ah! Like when I see a crowd going just crazy, like then I know I've done my job. The way it worked is I was strictly hip hop DJ. I went, and from there I met the guy who I DJ with for electronic music, for like EDM stuff that I'm known for, and that's Lavelle Dupree. And he was the house DJ, and I basically would cut records over his music. So he would have just a straight record that just had the beats, and I would have an acapella on both of these. I'll show it to you later, but I would have an acapella on this. So. His beat would go doom, doom, and I'd be like, so, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up, 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 up. And then that record would drop, and that would be what we do. So it was like live remixing. We're the only one that did that, and I did it on straight vinyl, so there was no Serato. I had to I would speed records up to 45. It would be like, blah, 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 nothing can stop us, I'm all the way up. It was like really fast.
There was a certain time where Serato was coming in, and Scooter would be playing regular vinyl, I'd be playing regular vinyl, some guys would be playing CDJs, Some people would integrate that in as 4 decks and play it into their setup and their format. But there was a point right about there where the technology was taking over and making life a lot easier for some people. So some of us that were more technical were more about, wait a second, what qualifies you? Remember, we've had this talk about what's a DJ, what's a selector, what's a programmer. There's all these things, we've talked about this. So, you know, there was a point, and I want to say this was about 2004, where Serato came in and things started becoming easier, and people started going, okay, I'm going to specialize. So Thrasher would do video DJing because it was harder to get videos and mix videos and do that format. And you and Lavelle, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit, would start teaming up and doing more. Well, you guys teamed up for a long time. But Still.
Vegas last weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that's an interesting thing to tell them about how that format changed. But there was a lot of people that just kind of took off in all these different facets to try to specialize and become something very specific. I think you did almost the opposite. That's when you moved from more hip hop to more open format and said, I can rock any party.
I think
Give me the keys.
The way it worked is I was strictly hip hop DJ. I went, and from there I met the guy who I DJ with for electronic music, for like EDM stuff that I'm known for, and that's Lavelle Dupree. And he was the house DJ, and I basically would cut records over his music. So he would have just a straight record that just had the beats, and I would have an acapella on both of these. I'll show it to you later, but I would have an acapella on this, so his beat would go doom, doom, and I'd be like, so, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop, nothing can stop me, nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up, 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 up. And then that record would drop, and that would be what we do. So it was like live remixing. We're the only one that did that, and I did it on straight vinyl, so there was no Serato. I had to like I would speed records up to 45. It would be like, blah, 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 nothing can stop us, I'm all the way up. It was like really fast. Nobody was doing studio stuff back then because it just was too expensive to put on vinyl. So it was real creative and it was really cool, and nobody else was doing it. And that's really what got me noticed outside of what stood me apart. What stood us apart from everybody else.
You guys were the first team that I saw do that.
Yeah, we were the only one who's ever done that.
Like, well,
the way we do it.
Zach Zetrip would do live mashups.
He'd do live mashups, but he never did the way we did. Like, he never did electronic music. It would be like if Tiesto and Z-Trip had a baby and they were both working together. That's kind of what we did.
That's right.
Yeah, we would mash up things live. Like other people, like people do it all the time now because software's real cheap and they can go into Ableton, throw an acapella over something and they're like, woo, but back in the day, that was impossible. Like you couldn't do that. Either do it live, and you could definitely not do it dynamically, like actually creating a build by yourself. You know what I mean? With Serato, it's even cooler because you have all the buttons. So now I can like, you know, I can go like, nothing will stop, all the way up, up. You know what I mean? I could really I'll show you guys, but.
And they have little corner controllers too. You've seen those little pods where you can do that same sampling.
Yeah.
But instead of touching the buttons on your keyboard screen, you're hitting these bigger buttons that are a little bit more hands-on.
I'll tell you something about that. When it comes to equipment, man, you want to have the most simple rig as possible because you're going to be in Indiana, you're going to be in Chicago, you're going to be in Indonesia, and you don't know what they have. So you either have to bring all that stuff with you, or you have to be proficient with everything. That's one thing is like, I know how to use CDJs, I know how to use turntables, I know how to use controllers, I know several programs, and I have like 4 sets of needles, 4 records. Everywhere I go, I have backups of everything. And the reason for that is when you show up in a club and you're switching up, no one yells at the promoter or the club owner and says, oh, you're terrible, because it sounds terrible. They yell at me. They're looking at me, I'm terrible. So they came to see me, it's my responsibility no matter what I show up in. So I carry my own Serato box, this exact one actually, just as a backup to any of this stuff. I try to use all their equipment, but if it comes in, like if it comes down to it, I always just use your own stuff. And I encourage you to. It's your responsibility to show up and know how to use everything. So if all you have is some controller, and that's all you know how to use, learn how to use everything. Because that controller one day won't work. That controller one day won't hook up correctly. And you'll be screwed, especially at lower levels. Any DJ that goes and stands on a table, let me tell you what you're not doing if you're standing on a table.
Stevie Aoki.
You're not DJing. You're standing on a table. You know, and God bless him, dude. Like, I wouldn't jump off the third rail of something into the crowd, into like that guy's an insane person. Like, but, and you know, that's why he does really well. But yeah, that's also not DJing. That's putting on a show, and I think right now a show is what's going on. What's up, bud?
Yeah, I saw Son Holo live.
Okay, yeah.
He did, like, he stood up on the table like 3 times.
Oh, yeah. They do that. They do at the Kaechele thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though everybody stands on tables these days. It's like a prerequisite. I won't stand on a table. First of all, I don't know if the table will hold how big I am currently. Like, I'm always nervous. Like, what if I get on that table and then it's like I'm on YouTube crashing down in front of a crowd? It's not a good look. What's up, man?
You have any regrets?
Regrets? Yeah, my ears are completely terrible. I'll probably be deaf. That's a big regret. I'm actually probably getting arthritis in my hands probably too from doing all this for so long. But that's not a regret. I don't really care about that. But yeah, the ears I do regret. Wear protection. I wish I would have done that in my youth. If I would have done that, I would be like, my ears ring all the time. Currently, when I sleep, all the time. Because I've been just under sound pressures for 20 years. Some of them so incredibly loud that it's like louder than jumbo jets. When you do raves and stuff, the speakers are insane. Like, you'll have a club system as your monitor just in your ears. It's crazy. So yeah, protect your ears and get professional grade stuff. Don't get those little puffy things. What you want to do is get like a musician's earplug. Yeah. Like, you can get them cheap for like under $20, and those work just fine. But if you're gonna do this as a career, like once you really start getting around a lot of sound, get the professional ones.
I've seen guys wear the monitors,
yeah,
like headphones, and it's an ear protector. At the same time, it's a monitor. But when people are seeing you DJ, the telltale sign that you're DJing is to see headphones on you. And it's weird. I saw Layback Luke do this one time. Like, is that guy DJing? And I couldn't see from a distance. Like,
well,
is he DJing?
The difference is now DJing can be a visual thing. Like, DJs no longer really. I've seen DJs do whole sets without these. Would I advise that? No, because at times you can't see your monitor, or your monitor gets messed up, and then once again, it's your fault, not their fault. This stuff is happening.
They're just DJing off the marker, and they're
that you can on the markers. If you look at the Serato, like just a regular old beat on anything.
Hit the far right. You guys can see it up on the screen actually, because it's
so just like
it's set up there.
So you just.
So 10 cracking glitches.
So that's the kick. So if you really wanted to mix, you could mix, just know where that is right there. Put that on the inside. You know exactly what BPM it is because it says it is, so you go. Wait a minute, it's on 45 still. So it's like, so you can look at it right now, you see how these are two exactly up? So if one goes a little ahead of each other, you just try to adjust it back. Right back up. So that's how you do it visually. But the whole thing is like, at times this won't work, something will happen, and they're just things that if you have to focus on looking at this visually, like there are a lot of times that just because I have an ear for things, it's like a superpower. If I hear most records, if I just hear this on any record, I'm like, oh, that's glitches. Like, I know you guys don't know that, but I do. Because I know what the scratch on this record sounds like. It sounds different from every other scratch. And it's weird, because I'll sit in a club, and I'm like, oh, Hypnotize is coming up next. And they'll go. And it'll drop. How'd you know that? Yeah. Oh, this is Mac Miller next. How'd you know that? Because I know what the first scratch sounds like, because I scratch it so much. And like that, and learning on your ears, it just... it's kind of like when you ride a bike. Once you learn how to do it, you can do it. You'll always be mixing in anything you do, and you just understand bars better. You understand just musicality. You understand better.
I remember this guy doing this to me. I was at L5, and I still remember the track. Isn't this weird? I have a weird memory about stuff. And I remember playing "Sound of the Police" at a house mix-up.
Yep. And
before, like it was on the first 16 count. He's sitting off to the side. He's drinking. He's checking out the floor. I think maybe you were about ready to go in the hip hop room or something was going on. And I busted that track on. He had no idea because he couldn't see my record, And he's like, "Sound of the Police," ooh, and you start doing the ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
you started hyping the crowd like off of before the track even came in, and then the track came in.
All I do is win.
So that's a slow down. All I do is win.
All I do is win. All I do is win. Money on my mind. Everybody hands go up, up, up.
So it'd be like, if it was a beat, it'd be like.
All I do is win. 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 All I do is
I mean, like that's how like the Scooter Lavelle thing would do. So that would be Lavelle doing this, and then I would have two of these. So so you'd have a beat going in the background instead of me being, I would just be doing this like off just this, or it'd be like.
All I do is all I do, all I do, all I do, all I do, all I all I all I all I all I do is win, 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 win. All I do is win, 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 win. All I do is win. Everybody hands go up.
So it's like that's what I would do over like the house stuff. Like that's that kind of what we became famous for. And that's pretty much where I learned most of my scratching stuff was from that. I really like these Pioneer turntables.
Yeah, they feel good, don't they? They're heavy.
Yeah. I don't know. These are so much. It's so cool. You can do plus 16.
Yep.
I like the plus 50. I could have really used that back in the day. Like it's so crazy. You can go like.
All I do is win. All I do is win. Win, win, no matter what.
Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody
Like that's just nuts.
Everybody hands go up. And they say that.
So it would have been like, cause you could go from like, you could go what? I don't know. I still think this is funny. I don't even have these things at home. I like them so much that I gotta get these. So you could do this, put this on 45, and it's made it work. Sorry. That's dope.
The only year I never could do that, but I'm not face like that. I've never seen him on YouTube be able to do a high tempo like that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm gonna buy these as soon as I leave here.
You got it. Yeah.
I've never had them like without being in a club situation where I can really like appreciate them. These are dope though. I gotta get a pair. Oh, sorry guys. I got a little. See, I'm still a nerd to this day.
Who's the guy that taught you the most and turned your channel for you early on?
For DJing?
Yeah.
I had nobody. I literally
mentor.
I didn't know anyone else with turntables. I didn't know any of the DJs. I spent a good year and a half DJing for myself with turntables, like on top of something this high with my records I would buy. I would go to the record store. I was just nobody. I didn't care for anybody. I didn't want to be a DJ. I didn't go to clubs. I was a nerd, man. I collected comic books. I had computers. Like DJing back then, it was much, like to me, it was a much nerdier experience because you would spend just hours and hours of time going through records that you wanted to find because they just weren't out there. Like you couldn't go on iTunes and just grab something. Like especially older stuff. Like if I wanted to get some Guns N' Roses or something really random, I would have to go find that record. And dude, like there weren't many around. Like it's hard to find. And it became, at that point in time, it was a game of who had the best records. And then when Serato came out, those guys who were only good record collectors but not good DJs, they died out. Or they had to step their game up. Like, that's why I kind of told you the most important thing is skills at the end of the day. You know, being good at what you do. Because the game keeps changing. And you have to either change with it or you die. And a lot of DJs just, they hit a certain plateau and they're like, oh, whoa, and everybody is, you know, doing beat drumming now. Like, what do I do? I can't do that. Well, you're done. See ya. Thanks for coming out. I mean, that's just, you know, I feel like I've been real successful at taking everything and instead of using it as a tool to make my job easier, kind of like the way I showed you with the hit points, is finding a way to make it creative and make it my own. And like, that's what you guys should do with technology, is like the things on the, like, right here, like, you know, is that necessary? Is this, can you hear, like, you know, a lot of mixers have it here. Doesn't matter though, right? It matters what you can do with it. And that's kind of like, that's what's really important to me. I think that's another reason why I'm being successful, is doing that.
When I was in high school, there was a guy, there's Distillery East.
Cause he's down with me.
And there was After Dark.
Oh, wow, yeah. Very old school, yes.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up basically in Chula Vista.
Chula Vista, okay.
I went to high school at Chula Vista High
So
School.
there was, what was the one down south?
Located in Spring Valley, the people at the Stratus really know how to party.
Distillery, I thought. Dude, we went to Mexico, dude. Let me be real with you.
So there was Club O.
Come on.
There was Club O in Mexico.
And the way I learned to DJ, like I said, I didn't have anybody teaching me like to scratch, or I didn't copy anyone's style. I just kind of sat around and figured it out myself. So I have all kinds of weird things that I do that other DJs don't do. That it's kind of like unique to however I came up. There was one DJ in San Diego, DJ Rags, that I really liked though.
Yeah.
Like he actually.
He would, for hip hop, I remember Rags, and Rags would play like, he'd play like the prime of a hip hop track, and it would probably be 30 seconds to a minute and a half at most, and Rags would go into another. I remember, but he used to do East Street Alley. But there was a time where I saw him at one place and he was just doing slam.
Yep.
And he had them all. And this is the interesting thing, is Rags is really good. And I know
Super
he doesn't
good.
always do what I'm talking about, but I remember this one time I saw him and I was like, whoa, he's going to the next record. He already had it all dialed. He knew where his priorities
Yeah.
were. He literally went through 2 huge crates of records in about an hour and a half that I saw. I was like, holy jeez.
So I lived in New York for a while, right? And one of the DJs I really liked growing up was Kid Capri. He's a very famous old school hip hop DJ. And he would come with 4 crates. And when I lived in New York, we went to go see him at the Tunnel. And he came with 4 crates. So 4 crates of records about this big, so however many records that is. And he would take a stack of records like this, like pancakes, and he would stack them up like this. So there's just this, not any paper on them or anything. Just stack up. And he would sit him right here, and he would just flapjack. Boom, boom, da da da, blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. And he would just switch records like a madman. And he the way he was on the mic, like he knew everyone's name. He could like talk smack to individual people in the crowd. If it was like, if Kanye was there, he would be like, oh, Kanye, this song's terrible, and turn it on, and just like talk smack. And I always loved, I love that East Coast style a lot more than like some of the West Coast guys. I really like the West Coast scratchers because they're so clean. And I love the East Coast vibe because it's just this crazy party vibe. Mm-hmm. Like the West Coast when I was growing up was much more of a Dr. Dre, laid back, like looking cool, that kind of thing. I wasn't interested in that. Like I wanted people like a punk rock show except with hip hop. That's what I wanted. Like just wild.
What are the 5 top tips to get them started? Because they're about ready to get started. They don't know Serato. They're going to get used to this in one side, listen to the other.
Is anybody snowboarded here or anything like that?
Yeah.
All right, or like ridden a bike, anything? Okay, when you started, it was terrible, right? You crashed. You were like, this is terrible. Why do people do this? I'm not going to do it. Like, that's how working with your 2 ears is going to be. It's going to be terrible. The best way for you to do it, honestly, is you learn your feel first. So get 2 of the same record just like this. Get glitches on this side, get glitches on this side. Just practice dropping it in. All right, like just drop it in. And get it on the same BPM and everything. So you know it's the exact same record, exact same thing. And just practice dropping them at the same time.
You're not the same deal, though. You're up there.
No, these sound exactly the same. And stop, and do it again. Can you do a fade? Remember, all this is in your ears, so this is what you guys are hearing. You know what I mean? And then I'm over here listening to this one on this side. So all this is done without you knowing I'm doing it at all. So like all those mistakes and stuff are in your headphones.
You guys can see it up there. See, he's got the match. He's got the match on the beat. And once he's got the match on the beat, wait for the 32 count, and then come in with it. Remember, no vocal over vocal. Unless the vocals speaking to each other, which never happens. Which he can probably make happen.
Yeah, so you're doing all that underneath. So by the time they hear it, it's perfect. You know what I mean? So I mean, then you can mix however you want to mix. But like when you're first learning, get 2 electronic tracks at around the same BPM, and even if they're the exact same song, and go back and forth, just practicing how it feels to put it in at the right time. And once you do that, and you can adjust it, because when you put it in, you're gonna put it in the wrong way, and it's gonna be like do. When you can get it from shoes in a dryer to like on, then you'll know that your ears are starting to develop. And then I would go back down to hip hop stuff to learn, because that's a whole nother animal. Just kind of getting your brain around all the BPMs. Tap your foot to whatever you think it is, you know, and that's gonna allow you to know what's going on. Like, it's just like.
Do the vocals singing to each other? No?
So still. Just clap your hands, that's the beat. If you can clap your hands or tap your feet. All that other stuff in the middle is nonsense, you don't have to worry about that. And then this is. If you can clap your hands, you can beat match. Right? So like.
The hippie?
That's the beat to it,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's all you need to do is be able to clap your hands or tap your hands to the beat. If you can do that, then you can mix. And if you can't do that, learn how to do that, and then you can mix. It's not that hard. Don't let all the little bits of it like get confusing to you. Like at the beginning, just stick with what you can clap to. If the beat's too hard at the beginning, use an easier beat. You guys have every song in the universe to choose from now. My name, okay, it's actually, that's a funny story. It's not like a DJ name. It's been my family name since I was a little kid. When I was a little baby, there's these thing called baby walkers. You sit in them and they got little wheels on them. And before you can walk, and you kind of like, you shove it to the wall. And you just walk around them before you can walk. Well, I lived in a house that had like floors kind of like this. So I would be in the hallway, and once my family put me in it, I would just go to the wall and I would kick off the wall. Kick off the wall. So I would just do that all day in the hallway. Kick off the walls in the hallway. It's like, oh, look at him scoot around, little scooter. A friend of mine who does like the finger bang stuff. And what's his name? Not Darth Vader. Oh. I'm spacing on it. But they play together. He plays with Zach. Mm-hmm. He's so Buck Rogers is his name.
Oh, Buck Rogers.
DJ Buck Rogers. Look him up on Instagram if you get a chance. This kid is wicked. Like on the finger bang stuff, he's one of the wickedest kids I've ever seen.
Explain that to these guys. What
finger bang is like, you know how like I had that all you could do is win thing up here, and it was like you know. So he'll have like a whole key thing, like a Ableton.
Oh, like the launch pads. Yeah.
I'll have a launch pad, but not like that. But he'll have a beat, a snare, 808, and he'll go through, and he'll have like just the intro of a song, and he'll literally make a track right in front of you. That's so dope. And he'll switch it up. He'll go from like, he'll go from a hip hop beat where it's like maybe 60 BPM, 70 BPM, like boom, so all while adding the sample in. And then he'll scratch a little bit over the sample and then go back. Is the skill? He was a drummer before he did this, so he has like just fast fingers.
Did you ever do Burning Man?
Yeah, I've done it 3 times.
Yeah.
The first time I went I was booked and I was serious. And then I went and I'm like, why would I want to DJ here? This is a terrible idea. Yeah. I don't want to DJ here. I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
So the next year I went and I DJ'd even more, but I didn't plan any of them. Like I just was walking around and people would like, oh, Scoot. People would see me and I would just DJ their party. Yeah. It was never, and that was much more fun.
It's much more fun because it's also a community of giving too.
Yeah.
So you know,
Burning Man is the best festival-ish thing that you can do. It's not just a concert. It's something else.